Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Here I am. How are you guys? Wow. What a day, what a week. Look at the new set. It's all fancy. All fancy and everything. Glad to have you here, guys. Much to talk about, much to get to as the show progresses today. I mean, all sorts of craziness. I had mentioned to you before, let me just go ahead and turn this off. I got to run this all myself here, because it's a one-man show. Okay. A lot happened with Facebook crushing Liberty One TV and its affiliated Facebook pages, and it was demoralizing. It was a real drag, to say the least. But we won't give up. We won't surrender. We will reinvent ourselves. So tonight I have the skyline of Kansas City behind me. And I have a show for you that I think you're going to enjoy. All right? Check out Spreely.com, Spreely.com. That is the new social networking site that is going to take on Facebook. It's going to take on Twitter. We just need to be noticed. We just need to be noticed. Because when you've got media giants crushing you, it's kind of hard to fight back against that. But I thank you for joining me tonight. If you want to write me, carsonontheradio@gmail.com, carsonontheradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, it is Rob Carson Show. On Twitter, it is Rob Carson. Let's get started, shall we? I want to get into this caravan of migrants from Honduras. I'm a humanitarian. Who the hell isn't a humanitarian? Who the hell is not a humanitarian unless you're a psychotic, evil bastard? This is not an organic movement. 14,000 or 7,000 or whatever many people don't just suddenly go, we're leaving Honduras because it sucks. This was planned. And what's really shameful is that it puts a lot of people in danger. And what's really shameful is I think the Democratic Party would not mind having a few sacrificial lambs involved. They like the crying mothers or weeping fathers or crying children to show how cruel America is. We'll get to that here in a few. Donald Trump did a rally in, Houston yesterday. I think 20,000 people were able to make it into the arena and 75,000 waited outside. That's pretty big. And I don't think it bodes well for the blue wave, dear God in heaven, the blue wave that's coming in, 14 days? The Democrat Party, that's offering nothing but I hate Trump, higher taxes. That's about it. So where's your blue wave coming from? Do you think your personal hatred of Donald Trump as a Democrat leader or your personal hatred of Donald Trump as some sort of an activist is going to be enough to carry you over the finish line and blow away Donald Trump and ruin his presidency? Do you really believe that? I don't. One of the things that really got in the craw of national media figures was Donald Trump saying he's a nationalist. Now, nationalism obviously means he's a Nazi, right? I mean, if you express pride in your country, I always said, a lot of times the left will say that if you're at pride in your country, you are jingoistic. And I said, if I'm proud of my country, then jingo all the way, baby. But the national media, they're convinced that Donald Trump is some sort of a Nazi, and this is some sort of a dog whistle. Here is Donald Trump claiming that he is a nationalist, which, of course, makes him a Nazi.
Hasn't happened in a lot of decades. We're putting them first. We're taking care of ourselves for a change, folks. Thank you. I like that guy, but not that much. Not that much. But radical Democrats want to turn back the clock.
Boy, our hair is kind of the same color. It's kind of frightening.
Or the rule of corrupt, power-hungry globalists. You know what a globalist is, right? You know what a globalist is.
Now, you could say you're a globalist, and it's perfectly fine. It means that you support the Paris Climate Accord and you support NATO and the United Nations and all of the corruption involved in that. You can be a globalist and include yourself in a variety of piss-poor banana republic regimes around the country, but to call yourself a nationalist proud in your country because of its enormous success, that's a problem.
A globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well, frankly, not caring about our country so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what? We can't have that. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
Oh, my God, he's a racist. Oh, my God, he's a Nazi. Unbelievable. No, not really. He said, we put America first. And we should. Because we live in a really cruel, awful, awful world. And most countries are run by piss poor leaders who impoverish their people and keep them from ever achieving what was possible. The United States is different than that. The United States has been the greatest economic engine of freedom and self-expression in the history of mankind. And not only economic freedom, but just self-expression. We are. It's true. The world would not be where it is today were it not for the United States of America. My God in heaven, we would still be living in medieval villages without running water. Come on. Give me a friggin' break. This country discovered so much. The Industrial Revolution turned the world around, brought us out of the dark ages, and we were the leaders of it. We were the leaders of it, and we should never not be proud of that. But, of course, Don Lemon, who is a freak, he is convinced this is some sort of a dog whistle for racism, as everything is.
They made a surprisingly candid admission.
A globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well, frankly, not caring about our country so much. And you know what? We can't have that. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay?
Oh, my God, what he said. Oh!
National. Nothing. Use that word. Use that word.
Okay, here's Don.
Wow.
He's laughing because he's so much smarter than us. Don Lemon is so much smarter than you and me. I mean, can you believe he used the word nationalist? I mean, seriously, stop it.
Nationalist.
Yeah, you support the country you're in because the world's cruel and awful. And there are some countries in the world that have tried to take over the world many times, and there are some countries in the world who really would like to do it still. And you say, F you, I'm going to defend America. And you know what? If you're not America, you kind of suck.
Use that word. We're going to talk about that word tonight.
Are you, Don? Are we going to talk about it tonight there, Don? I can't wait for the discussion.
It is a favorite of the alt-right.
The alt-right. Yes, of course, the alt-right. What about the alt-left? What about Antifa? What about the alt-left?
It is loaded with nativists and racial undertones.
Man, you can tell this guy went to college not too long ago. The nativist and racial undertones. Did you take from this that it was nativist and racial? So nationalist. The United States of America. The Great American Melting Pot, for those of you who grew up watching Schoolhouse Rock. The Great American Melting Pot. Everybody here, welcome. The melting pot. And now if you express pride in America, even though you may have come here as an Irish person or a Chinese person or a Jew, and you assimilated somehow by being a nationalist and expressing pride in the United States of America, you're a frickin' white bigot. That's what you are, according to this dumbass here Honestly, why didn't I get in TV? You could be this effing stupid, and I'm not saying I'm stupid, but you could be this damn stupid, get a multi-million-dollar contract, and spew crap like this.
Globalists? Well, globalists have been used as a slur of sorts, sometimes even against those in the administration, often with anti-Semitic overtones.
Who has retied their relationships with Israel? Who decided that we should move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem? Okay, Don Lemon, you are such an ungodly, insufferable douche.
Which has happened to make the president come right out and embrace nationalism openly.
No, wait, you're saying that you can be a globalist and it's fine, but if you say nationalist, that's somehow negative. Globalist is perfectly fine.
And claim that mantle. What has happened here? He did it while stomping for someone he once called the single biggest liar, someone who Trump once implied was not sufficiently American due to his foreign birth.
Oh, is that it? Is that what it was because of his foreign birth? I got to tell you, Don Lemon, dear God in heaven, you've got to load some new arrows in your quiver. You've got to load some new arrows in your quiver. Racism used to be real. Calling someone a racist meant something. The cry of racism right now in this country is used because you're losing the argument. It is the battle cry for the intellectually lazy. And I say this because I am auditioning for a radio station, and I heard this guy today on the show that would precede mine. And immediately, because you opposed the Caravan moving into, across Mexico, which supposedly will take 3 months. No, it was created to be at the border on November the 6th. It was meant to be at the border, or at least impact what happens on Election Day. That's what it's all about. But it's not about brown people. It's not about hating brown people. It is about an assault and an invasion on our country that is planned, bought, and paid for. And the really sick thing is there are a lot of hopeful people who've been convinced that this is fine, and these are all of these refugees. People have been saying, Donald Trump says they might be terrorists and they must have gang members in there. And I hate to tell you this, they're kids, but the president has a whole lot more intelligence on this crap than we do. He knows. They have intelligence officials embedded along this. They know who's there. The president gets a daily briefing that would scare the absolute hell out of you and me. And he is not just shooting his mouth off. But this is an organized movement, bought and paid for just in time for Election Day. Is it George Soros? Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Here is the biggest sellout in the history of conservatism. And honestly, Joe Scarborough sold his soul for a piece of ass. That's, I'll just say it because I can say it because you see, I'm not on the air right now. I'm on a video podcast, and so I can share with the world what I think about his relationship with Mika Brzezinski. He sold his soul for a piece of ass. He lost his family. He lost his sense of beliefs altogether, and he is intellectually and morally bankrupt. Here is Donald Trump likening Trump to Hitler after reading Hitler's World War II psych profile. Here is Joe Scarborough reaching another low for this man who once was a good and decent person, used to fill in for Limbaugh on his show, and now is a complete and utter Democrat, liberal, socialist tool.
Columnist and associate editor of the Washington Post and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson. And Joe, the word of the day is lie. And you've been doing a lot of reading lately.
Well, I have. I mean,
Hold on. Meow. Go ahead.
if you talk to Willie Geist, he will tell you I'm a very important guy. I have many leather-bound
big
books
deal.
in my.
And this is where he becomes insufferable, and he hints at something. And listen, I've written political satire for many years. This is a feeble attempt at comparing the Trump administration, Donald Trump, to Adolf Hitler, and it's just not even cute. I think it's attempting to be cute, but it really is. It's just like it's childish.
Apartment.
It smells of rich mahogany. Yes.
It does. It smells of
And they all know they're in on the joke. They're all in on the joke, and he's leading up to the joke, and everybody's playing along with the joke, which is that Donald Trump is a Nazi.
mahogany. So, as Willie and I are wont to do, last night,
Are want to do. How elite to say, as we are wont to do.
get tired of going through
God, people learn how to write.
all of my leather-bound books, and I started reading old government reports, which is what Willie and I do when we're just kind of bored with the classics.
I get it. You're setting it up. You're teeing up the joke for some odd reason, and it's going to be a miserable payoff, but go ahead.
And Mika, I want to read this. This is referencing nobody.
Right.
So please, my beloved viewers out there, do not draw a parallel between what is said here.
But I want you to draw the parallel between what is said here and
Anybody, living or dead, past or present, that would hurt me. Hurt me very deeply.
This setup is so god awful lame.
And you don't want to hurt me deeply. I don't want
Oh, I do actually. I want to punch you right in the throat.
to weep on this show.
But I wouldn't because Democrats want to incite violence against Republicans.
This doesn't relate to anybody whatsoever. It's just it's going through reams and reams and volumes. I love World War II, and big Churchill fan. Love what Rosa. So I was reading this.
Rosa, like Rosa Parks.
It's from the United States Office of Strategic Services in describing Hitler's psychological profile, and this only pertains to Adolf Hitler and pertains to nobody else. I just can't state that enough.
It's a very circuitous route to make to a really piss poor comparison.
But this is what they had for Adolf Hitler's psychological profile. And for those of you in the midst of reading World War II government reports, you'll find it fascinating. His primary rules were never allow the public to cool off, never admit a fault or wrong.
I think you're describing Barack Obama.
Never concede that there may be some good in your enemy. Never leave room for alternatives. Never accept blame.
I think he's describing Barack Obama.
Concentrate on one enemy at a time and blame him for everything that goes wrong.
Again, I think he's describing Barack Obama, right?
People will believe a big lie sooner than a little one.
Yeah.
And if you repeat it frequently enough, people will sooner or later believe it. That is, of course, the U.S. government during World War II, Mika, talking about Adolf Hitler. That's all we're talking about here. Adolf Hitler. Just a little light nighttime reading for me. And tonight I'm
What a just incredibly douche-tastic comparison. I mean, honestly, by a once possibly admirable man.
move on, and I'm going to read Game 6, which is the story of how the Red Sox won Game 6.
Okay. Wow, that was really cute. That was pretty darn cute. Cute if it weren't so ungodly stupid. You could say the exact same things and be more accurate with regard to Barack Obama. The exact same things. Repeat a lie until people believe it. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, among other things. Wow, wow, wow. Yesterday, Donald Trump had a speech in Houston. Barack Obama had a speech. I believe this is in Vegas. Donald Trump had 100,000 people waiting to see the show. And Barack Obama, of course, had 2,000. and for a variety of reasons, Barack Obama invoked his name 77 times. He was there on behalf of Representative Jackie Rosen of Nevada, running for Senate against Dean Heller. Mentioned himself 77 times. Almost 20 times more than the candidate he was there to speak on behalf of. Here's some of Obama's speech, and it's laughable because he claims credit for the Trump economy. Let's go ahead and play some of that real quick here, shall we?
Right now, we've got a chance to restore some sanity to our politics. Right now, we can
before you left office, the Occupy was occupying, and BLM was burning down cities. Really sanity?
The balance of power back to you, the American people.
You're talking about Democrats. It's not the American people. It's not. The American people suffered under you, you douche.
Because ultimately, there's only one real check on abuses of power. There's only one real check on bad policy, and that's
the high school gymnasium he's at. That's a high school gymnasium. Donald Trump had 20,000 inside of an arena and another 70,000 people waiting outside.
It is you and your vote. You. This is a fact. This is not.
Oh, is it? Okay. It's a fact.
Unlike some, I actually try to state facts.
Of course. Yeah. Even though you lied for 8 effing years.
Facts. I don't believe in just making stuff up. I think you should actually say to people what's true. So here's what's true.
Get that lilting voice as he's trying to be dramatic.
They handed out $1.5 trillion in tax cuts. When I was president.
Whoa. How do you hand out tax cuts? How do you hand out tax cuts? They're tax cuts. So the money that you're sending the federal government stops. It's not taking money that we have and giving it to you. But this is how Democrats think. Because the money you have is already theirs, you see.
And I was trying to fund...
Here goes with the lilting voice again.
Early childhood education. Or trying to fund infrastructure.
Why haven't you done that? Why haven't Democrats fixed it? Why is early childhood education still a gosh damned issue? Why is infrastructure still an issue, you fool? You put $700+ billion into a stimulus package, then the projects were not shovel ready. Democrats have never wanted to fix anything. That's what it's all about. Democrats have never wanted to fix anything. Social Security, immigration, the racial divide. They've never wanted to fix it because if we fix it, they don't need the Democrats anymore. How many effing years do you have to have people say, this year we're going to fix whatever. This year we're going to fix forever. Dear God in heaven, if you were a corporation, you would have been out of the business way sooner than Sears, a little bit from this little man.
They would say, no, we can't do that. Deficits are too high. It's an existential crisis. Then suddenly,
he's getting down with the struggle.
Comes to giving $1.5 trillion for folks who are already sitting pretty. Don't need it. Weren't even asking for it. Suddenly, deficits are no problem. There's no reason to overcomplicate stuff. Sometimes I think Democrats do just they're analyzing stuff. Just vote.
Dear God, you turdsicle. You had 8 years in office and you did nothing. You did nothing. Do we have some more from this Barack Obama speech? Let me find it here real quick, because honestly, wow. Don't even know what to say about this ex-president, because he screwed up thing. Oh, here it is. I think this is about, let me see if it's the same clip, sorry.
Right now, we've got a chance to restore some sanity to our politics.
Yeah, that's already played. Goodbye. Donald Trump. Let's play a little Donald Trump. Let's see. Great things are happening under Donald Trump. There are. You've got all-time lows for unemployment. You've got an economy that is roaring at 4.1% GDP growth. This is a speech. This is before this last speech. This is about what I think was the most one of the more truly terrific jobs as a speechwriter with regard to sloganeering and what is true about Donald Trump and what's happening in the economy and what the Democrats are asking for.
Well, the one thing that has been really great about this whole endeavor is I used to say, he wears a hairpiece, They don't say that anymore. These people have seen me under every condition known to man. I haven't heard that one in over a year. You know, when you're walking around and the wind is going crazy and you're inspecting, like I did the other day, the incredible hurricane, this horrible Hurricane Michael that devastated Florida and Georgia, and Alabama got hit hard. And then a couple of weeks before, and Michael got a piece of them too, but a couple of weeks before, I went to North Carolina, South Carolina. You look at what happened in a little piece of Virginia, and you walk around in those conditions, you can't fake it. So that's one good thing. Nobody ever says that anymore. That's might be one of the best things that's happened to me in a long time.
Okay.
Because my whole life, they said, is it or isn't it? Barbara Walters interviewed me. Do you mind if I play with your hair? Remember that? And then numerous people have done that. But that's okay. But the choice could not be more clear.
Here comes the money shot.
Democrats produce mobs. Republicans produce jobs.
Whoever came up with that, I mean, honestly, wow, bravo. That was really good. Somebody who writes stuff for a very long time. That was pretty good. Let's move on to what's happening with the Caravan. The Caravan. This is a bought and paid for event like DACA with Barack Obama. DACA was created as a crisis by the Obama administration. Children began streaming over the border, our southern border, while he was the president. This was bought and paid for. This was policy. Hundreds of thousands of children coming across the border to be given bus tickets, plane tickets, and flown throughout the country. And then they tried PACA, which was to the parents. And the Republican governors of the country said, no, screw you. And that was rejected. It was an attempt to upset the balance of power in this country. That was what it was all about. That's what it was all about. But it was stopped. And again, like this movement on our southern border, it is bought and paid for. It is meant to create instability. And it is meant, in this case, particularly to upset the balance of power in the country with regard to this coming election. Were they too early? Were they too late? I don't know. But that's what it's there for. It's bought and paid for. If you listen to me, and, who knows, listen to me. I've been on radio stations and everywhere. The only thing big enough to create this movement with regard to the Obama administration, and DACA was policy. The only thing that created this movement from Honduras is a leftist bought and paid for faux astroturf movement. People being promised things, people being told we'll feed you, we'll whatever you, all the way to the United States. And it's the same use of people. It's the same sickening use of people. But of course, if you disagree with it and you say, "Hey, man, we have the right to stop this from happening because it is an invasion." I don't care what your ideology is, or I don't care whether you are whether you're coming here for asylum. This is people being used for someone else's political ends, and unfortunately, some people are going to get hurt. And I believe that Democrats want to see that happen. They want to see a crying mother. They want to see a crying child, because it will forward an agenda that Donald Trump is a nationalist. Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump doesn't want people with brown skin to come in. Here's a little report on the Honduran Caravan. This is a whipped up mob. It's not real. If these were loving parents and their loving children, they wouldn't be doing this. You have no right to come here. You have no right to due process, because you are not a citizen of this country. And just because you want to wish it that way, and you want to say that I belong here and I come from a poor country, does not mean you gain immediate access to this one. And I know it's cruel and awful for me to say, but that's just the way of the world. And Democrats are going, hell yeah, keep it going. Just think we're a little bit early, because, you know, if you're going to walk, it's going to be a couple months to get to the U.S. I guess maybe they just wanted enough of an uprising to affect the elections to some degree. Max Boot. This guy's, I think it's MSNBC or CNN. He's a radical racist douche. He was asked about opposing the Caravan, and of course, it's all about race, and it's outrageous. Here's a little bit from Max Boot.
Is it demagoguery? How would you describe this?
It is demagoguery, Brian. It is also, I believe, racist.
No, it's protecting your borders. It's protecting your borders. You know, sorry, I don't care what your intentions are when you rush a border by the thousands. It's not demagoguery, and it's not racism.
And nativism really pandering.
Oh, this is such academic shite. Let's hear that again.
It is also, I believe, racism and nativism really.
Nativism, of course, nativism. What the fudge is nativism? Nativism. What the hell is nativism, you academic douche?
Pandering to the fears of Trump supporters and Fox News viewers.
I don't have a fear. I don't have a fear. What I do have is a genuine concern for our borders and our sovereignty. It's not about fear. I'm not afraid of these people coming from Guatemala or Honduras. I'm not afraid of them at all. Give me an effing break. Do they have the right to cross our border unfettered? Hells to the no. They do not have that. It's not about fear. It's not about hating brown people. I don't give a shite which effing border it's coming from. It will be stopped. You cannot just expect to cross our border and get in. There are ways to do this. But of course, the lazy intellect will go after racism and try to make you feel bad.
Who tend to be older, white,
like you. I don't think he's a spring chicken.
males who are
I've got more hair than he does.
Alarmed about this supposed invasion of dark-skinned.
There it is, the dark-skinned thing. Crying racism is a tool of the intellectually lazy.
Newcomers coming to America. I mean, the threat is entirely bogus because, in fact, border crossings have declined dramatically.
Until the last 6 months.
In the last 18 years, down 80%. There is not this massive army.
Until the last 6 months.
Of illegal immigrants. And these people are not even illegal immigrants. They are refugees who are seeking legal admission to the United States.
No, there are ways to be refugees. You can go to your embassy in your country. You can go through ports of entry. So you're entirely wrong, Mox Boot.
What this really underlines to me, Brian, is how the Republican Party has changed in my lifetime. This is something I write in
I'm going to feel so shameful. I'm going to feel so shameful. No, not really. Not really. I love the diversity of America. I was raised on the diversity of America. I was raised on the great American melting pot. I never regarded race with regard to people coming here. Welcome, welcome. Just do it legally. And how dare you, you elitist pig bastard. Give me a break.
Book, The Corrosion of Conservatism, how when I was growing up in the 1980s, the Republican Party was basically pro-immigration. It was a conservative party with a white nationalist fringe. And under the impact of Fox News and Donald Trump...
it's Fox News. And Donald Trump. I'm not a racist. I watch Fox News. You know why I watch Fox News? Because I was tired of the bullshit from the other networks.
It has transformed into essentially a white nationalist party with a conservative fringe. I mean,
which party is saying to kick your enemies when they're low? Which party is saying get in the face of your political opposition? Okay. Which party does not say anything when Antifa, whatever the fudge it is, attacks people, or Black Lives Matter burns down neighborhoods? Are you out of your gosh damned mind? Of course you are. Of course you are. And you know what? And you know better than this. You know better than this. You've got to be smarter than this, Mox Boot.
I spent decades working in the conservative media for publications like the Wall Street Journal editorial page. And guess what? They were pro-immigration. They had a very different view.
I'm pro-immigration as well. But you can't storm our borders. That's just the way it is.
These things than the Fox Newses and the Donald Trumps of the world who are...
You got to keep hitting Fox News. You got to keep getting Fox News. The only island of reasonable journalism out there. And if you look at some shows, of course they have a political bent. But then there are shows like Brett Baer's show that aren't. They're actually honest journalism, which you will not find on CNN.
Pushing this xenophobic agenda.
We're xenophobic. Bravo. Man, you got every arrow out of the quiver on that one. Good. Nativist, racist, xenophobic. I mean, wow. Bravo, Mox Boot. Bravo. Unbelievable. Where do you go from this, Mox Boot? This guy's such a douche.
Is it demagoguery? How would you just...
I'm kind of done with Mox Boot. Goodbye, Mox Boot. See you later, Mox Boot. All right. This is funny. There's a race going on in California. Elizabeth Heng. And she is a 33-year-old woman, Cambodian refugee's daughter, running against a congressman who's been elected to office longer than she's been alive. Jem Acosta. Oh, no, it's just Costa. They're running against each other, and she appeared on, I believe this was CNN. She has a really funny commercial because there's a candidate, Jem Costa, who is basically a Nancy Pelosi clone, And she did what I believe is an incredibly effective ad. And of course, CNN was completely offended by it, saying that it is sexist. Watch this ad and tell me what you think, because I think it's brilliant.
Focused on Nancy Pelosi, who, of course, is currently the minority leader, potentially the next Speaker of the House if Democrats take back the House. I want to show our
Sorry, MSNBC. I get them confused because they're the same.
Viewers that ad, and then we'll talk about it. Take a look.
Votes against the farm bill.
This is great.
Sanctuary cities, higher taxes, more spending, gun control, and a money-wasting bullet train.
By the way, this is Casey Hunt from MSNBC questioning this young woman who hopefully will win, Elizabeth Heng.
Allows San Francisco environmentalists to deny us our water. Nancy Pelosi, yep. But also, surprisingly, Jim Costa. After a lifetime in politics, Jim's no longer one of us. Costa's walking in Nancy Pelosi's shoes.
What's this?
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby. That is so good.
I'm Elizabeth Heng, and your princess message.
All right, and of course, here's Casey Hunt with her response, which is, again, a name-calling, the intellectually lazy argument of calling somebody a racist, sexist, whatever.
So my first reaction to that, do you not feel as though that ad is just a little bit sexist?
No, not at all. You know, when
it's funny as crap.
I'm like watching all of these ads. There's so much finger pointing going on in Washington, D.C. and in the ads that I wanted to be able to talk about the policies that are heavily impacting this district that absolutely do not make sense for it. For example, the water policies that Nancy Pelosi is pushing forth is not one in which would work for our ag-based community here in California. We need water, and we need water policies that work here.
Fair enough, but that ad doesn't, is not focused on policy. It's showing her high heels. Do you think that some of the attacks that Republicans level at Nancy Pelosi are potentially sexist or not?
Do you not understand satire? Walking in her shoes. The absurdity of an old white guy walking in her shoes. These are the shoes she wears. It's not sexist. It's walking in her. Do you not understand? Do I have to explain this? Because you can't be this effing stupid.
No, I disagree with that. I think this was just a lighthearted way of saying that my opponent talks about being a blue dog Democrat for this community and a fighter and champion for it. But the problem is that when you vote in line with Miss Pelosi, nearly 90% of the time, it's undeniable that your policies do align with her.
Oh, did you get that? Did you understand that? Walking in her shoes. Did you understand? By copying the person before you, you're walking in their shoes. Do you not understand this? Are you this effing stupid? You can't be this stupid. You really can't be this stupid. But apparently some people are. Okay. Oh, this is funny. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's running for Congress in the state of New York, who's the new golden child of the Democrat Party, who used to, I guess, wait tables or something, and then decided to run for Congress and beat an old dog Democrat, and that's great. But she's a radical socialist who hasn't thought through anything in her life. She is a child who's 28 years old. She is a child. She has no clue about history in the world with regard to socialism. Every one of the ideas that she espouses are failings that have resulted in massive amounts of human suffering. Here she is on, I guess, Jimmy Kimmel's show the other night, and she can barely put together a sentence. And I realize I have verbal tics. Sometimes I say too many times. But how bright are you when you talk like this?
You beat a 10-time incumbent, a guy who just assumed that he was going to win, and you came out of nowhere. You were working as a bartender and decided that it would be a good idea to run for office. It's really one of the most remarkable stories I've ever heard. Do you stop and think about this from time to time and go, I can't believe this is happening?
Yeah.
A year ago?
Oh, yeah. People just lose their mind. They're like, wait. It's like back in the day when,
Like,
people be like, is this real? And it's like, it's
in the party.
They do. And it's,
in their own hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't know if if it's because we're from the Bronx, it's like exotic to us or something. She was like, yeah, no, my husband is a huge fan of yours. Motion activated tchotchke behind me that's like singing Jingle Bells. Actually you know, and they're telling me, you know, and, you know, they said, you know, that's right, and
Is this where we are? Where you want to elect this? Somebody who can't put a sentence together, who talks like a 12-year-old? Really?
I kind of grew up for sure.
It is.
I think you need to go back in 10 bar.
At mid.
Well, you know, I think the kind of typing into my phone, put it in your cell phone calendar, you know,
Genius.
But
Genius.
also it means that we need to also have
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, everyone.
Yay, bravo. She looks good, and that's about it. And that's why they want her in the Democrat Party. She can't put a freaking intelligence sentence behind her. Okay. Oh, Beto O'Rourke. This is funny. Beto O'Rourke is this guy running against Ted Cruz for Senate in Texas and will not win. He was asked about his pride in the state of Texas, and he ended up trashing the state of Texas for its treatment of transgendered people, which, I mean, is obviously number one on the list for people in the state of Texas.
And if you don't win?
If I don't win, we're back in El Paso. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to bring in,
Of course, the CNN town hall.
and Shane McCartney, a developmental psychologist who just recently moved to Texas.
Hello.
Shane.
How you doing there, Shane?
Thank you so much for being here. I am one of the 400,000 individuals who moved to Texas this year for the first time.
You know
when
why?
I moved from Virginia to Texas, I didn't...
Because of low taxes and regulation, which this guy doesn't stand for. This guy does not stand for.
know what to expect, to be honest, especially being here in the Rio Grande Valley. And I found the people to be amazing. Many people outside of the Texas and out across the world don't
How could they be amazing? They're a bunch of redneck hillbillies from hell who hate transgendered people.
know what it means to be a Texan. And so I ask you, as someone who was born and raised in El Paso, someone who's a public servant and a representative of the people of Texas, what does it mean to be a Texan today?
Okay, here's the positive.
To Texas, we are glad you're here. You got here as soon as you could. This is one of, if not the most diverse states in the United States of America. As Amy and I have found traveling to each one of the 254.
So he's saying they're very diverse. They're very diverse in the state of Kansas or Texas. I live in Kansas, sorry. But he's going to reverse on that and find a way to criticize Texas.
Counties of Texas. We have this incredibly beautiful, diverse story to tell about who
Jesus,
we are
God
and
in
where we're
heaven.
from and what we contribute.
The country's always been diverse.
To the future of this country. In these border communities, these binational cities, we can tell the positive story of immigration. In the Panhandle and in West Texas and in North Texas.
What is a binational city?
We can talk about how we grow the and feeds so much of the world. In Houston and Beaumont, we talk about being energy leaders and contributing to 10% of the Texas economy. Going to a place like Sweetwater or Roscoe, we talk about leading the renewable energy economy, being number one in the United States of America today.
Still waiting on that jet airliner that's run on solar power.
In the generation
and the car too.
Of wind power. We are a state
or a wind-powered car.
That you may know for the discussion around SB 6. This idea that we try to scare parents about transgender.
And then we move into why Texas sucks.
Kids coming into their child's bathroom. Though we know that transgender children are far more likely to be the victims than the perpetrators of those attacks. We know.
How does this matter with anything? In the grand scheme of things, with the things that are bringing people to Texas, 400,000 people a year. What does this have to do with effing anything?
In this state, you can be fired, denied from a same-sex partner household. What you may not know if you live outside of Texas is that this state is fully committed to the full civil rights of each and every single one of us.
You just said we sucked.
Wants to stand up regardless of your sexual orientation to make sure that you can do everything that you're intended to do in your life. This is a state defined by its ambitions and its aspirations.
You just said it sucked, though. You just said it sucked. and then you turned around and said, no, it's great. Dear God in heaven. Dear God in heaven. This is nice. See if I can find this. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I already did. Oh, this is the Beto O'Rourke ad. I wanted to do the Beto O'Rourke ad. This is his latest ad, and it's BETO, and it's a parody. This is so uncomfortably bad. I'm going to share it with you. Beto O'Rourke running for Senate against Ted Cruz. This is the best that he could come up with, and it is honestly, it is terrible. But I'll let you decide. Here it is, the new Beto O'Rourke ad, which is, go ahead. Look at how diverse that crowd is. Pretty much white people who can't dance. Time to save all the Jews? What did they just... Hold on one second, trying to... Save all the Jews. Do Texas Jews need to be saving? And look, oh, I see. You've got a woman with a helmet there with a light on it. I guess she's supposed to be one of the village people. Wow, this is just embarrassing. Wow. Can we just stop playing this effing song? YMCA, can we just give it a rest? Can we put it in a time capsule, and bring it out 1,000 years from now? Because seriously, I can't stand this song anymore. We're so empowered. Look at how diverse everybody is. That crowd, they're a bunch of white people who can't dance. Dear God. All right, let's move on to a couple of lighter things here that I think are kind of fascinating. I want to share with you. I have a singing donkey that I want to share in a few minutes. Oh, this is funny. There is worshippers at a Turkish mosque have been praying the wrong way for 40 years. The mosque in Sugaran, the company's west, was built incorrectly in 1981. The new imam, Isa Kaya, 24, addressed rumors of the design flaw and consulted with local muftis, the village elders. Turns out that not facing the right way toward Mecca. I would assume that because it's a mosque that's been run by men for a very long time, and aren't we the most likely to not ask for directions? I just saying. Because I've been waiting that for a long time. This is a pretty cool video. I want to play a little bit of this. Using a 360-degree view camera, daredevil Steve Shipman jumps for a spot in the mountains known as Fatal Attraction. This is in the Swiss Alps. Fatal Attraction is a popular spot in Switzerland for thrill-seeking paragliders and base jumpers to perform the high-risk sport, enabling them to fly before opening a parachute. If I were 25, I probably would have done this. Here's a little video from this before we get to the incredible singing donkey. Stick around. Watch this. This would be so much fun if I were 25, but I'm not. Here he goes. This is so intense. Wow. Can you imagine this? I can understand why people would risk their lives to do this. I do. I think they're stupid, but at the same time, if you're going to go, holy hell, what a way to do it. Watch this guy. Unreal. Wow. You really got to know what you're doing here. being a superhero. This is being a superhero. This is Iron Man. Unreal. I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was cool as hell. To wrap things up, a non sequitur. Apparently that there's a donkey named Harriet in Galway, Ireland. This is from the UK Daily Mail. The ass has never sounded like other donkeys. Talking about Nancy Pelosi. Okay. Say visitors to her paddock. Now they're comparing her to the high-pitched tone of an opera singer. Martin Stanton, a regular fan of hers, visits Harriet and treats her near his home in Galway. He said, I visited the beautiful Harriet today. She could never hee-haw like other donkeys, but apparently she's now an opera singer. I want you to watch this, okay? And I want you to not go, holy crap, because this is just intense. Here it is. Harriet the singing donkey to wrap up the show. Watch this. Okay, that's called vibrato. All right, what she's doing there is called vibrato, which the human voice can do. Listen to this again. This is an animal. Come on, Harriet. Wow, that is really funny. Okay, it doesn't, you know what? It doesn't make any sense. I just thought it was cool. I like to watch a lot of viral videos and whatnot. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you will become a member of Spreely, Spreely.com. Spreely, Spreely.com. It is our answer to Facebook for those who are free-thinking, regardless of whether you're right or left. Because we are under attack by social media, particularly Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. All of these things. And how do we survive? How do we continue freedom of expression on the web? Spreely.com. Spreely.com. Time for me to go. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. If you would, follow me on Facebook at Rob Carson Show and on Twitter at Rob Carson, okay? In the meantime, God bless, and I will see you again very soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now.